Hey everybody, I'm Patrick Curtis, CEO and founder of Wall Street Oasis. Got another fun chat today with Hugo, who came to us from Trinity College in Dublin. He came to us and joined WSO Academy a little bit late. It was middle of his second year, which is really when applications were already kind of rolling for spring weeks. Listen to what he says specifically about how his applications were before Academy, and then soon thereafter, how everything changed. Enjoy. Thanks so much for joining us today. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you're in San Diego, so welcome to the warm weather.
Thank you.
So awesome if you could just give the listeners just a short summary bio of kind of where you're from and what you've been up to.
Yeah, so I grew up in London, went to school there for my whole life. And then after that, I wanted to do a degree in sort of economics and business. So I got an offer from Trinity College Dublin. And I've done 2 years there, completed, and I'm currently studying in my third year. And the first semester I'm out here in San Diego, California, which is awesome. So yeah, I sort of wanted to pursue a career in economics and business just because I spoke to a lot of people. I feel like my mind is better suited to numbers than words. I'd say that's just, at least what my dad says. So yeah, that's why I came here, and I definitely saw Wall Street Academy when applying to all these different things, was always in and about it in terms of like Instagram posts and whatever. And it was sort of a good way to sort of get involved and sort of understand more, I suppose. And yeah, so that's a bit of summary of me.
Cool. So let's talk a little bit about like when you were starting uni. Did you know for sure, like, oh, I want to do something in finance? You said business numbers, but I see like you did do some consulting internships. So are you considering management consulting post grad? Are you only like, hey, only finance? Tell me about like your thought process of like evaluating those different career paths.
I think my first year, I was definitely wasn't sure at all what I wanted to do. And I joined a few of my sort of students led organizations. And from that, I realized that my skill sets was probably better suited towards sort of investment banking and that sort of side of things. I think as well, I did one management consultancy internship when I was quite a bit younger, and I thought it was very interesting and it was like thought provoking, and I really did enjoy the sort of professional environment. I knew that sort of environment I wanted to be around, but I just didn't know exactly what I wanted to do it in, sort of specifically. So yeah,
So that internship with Deloitte was kind of pre-uni?
Yeah, that was in my penultimate year, so like effectively my junior year at school, and it was just a 2 week thing. It was during COVID, so it was in the summer, and yeah, and it was very very like insightful. And even on Zoom and stuff, I learned a lot of things. But definitely wanted to. I feel like work more with like numbers and sort of obviously you want to meet clients and like meet people. It's very difficult on Zoom, so I don't necessarily know if it was the perfect representation of the job.
Yeah. And so tell me about just did you know about even what investment banking was like in your first year of uni, or like tell me about, because you know in UK and in at these other schools in Europe, you know, there's spring weeks, there's summer, and it happens early, like within your second year. I know you're at a 4 year, right? So it's somewhat more similar to the US, but at least in the UK, it's like second year, you need to have your stuff together, ready to go, spring weeks, because that leads to the summer internships. Tell me a little bit about like when you found out about finance and deal advisory and all that stuff.
Yeah, sort of. I joined university, and at the beginning, I honestly don't think I could have told you one thing about any of that sort of stuff. I hadn't a clue what was going on. And then you sort of speak to different people who sort of, if their parents are telling them or their friends are telling them, and you sort of understand what's going on. And then it sort of gives you that sort of, I'd say, competitive drive almost. Sort of start applying and stuff too. But at the beginning, like my applications would have been probably awful because I had no one checking my CV. I had like no idea what I was doing. I was sort of literally going off my own judgment, which at the time was very limited. So yeah, I sort of definitely needed sort of like a guidance, I'd say, or some sort of help in that area. Because my applications were just getting rejected at the first possible opportunity.
And then so this was your first year in uni? This is your experience?
Yeah.
And then what did you do in the first summer kind of?
First summer, I didn't do any sort of work experience there in terms of in the industry. I did another job, but it was just like working at a shop. It wasn't anything.
Yeah. And then so when did you find out about Wall Street Oasis and WSO Academy?
I sort of knew about them in the end of the first year when I was sort of getting my CV ready and sort of doing a bit of preparation, but I wasn't like aware of the academy until I started my second year. And then I was sort of looking at the reviews. I looked at it quite carefully. Also spoke to someone who like had, I don't think he did it, but he may have known someone who did it. And they said it was like really good. Apparently. So I sort of inquired more about it, then did like the interviews with you guys, and you guys explained it really well and said like, it was quite clear, like this is what this is what you have, this is what can happen, and it was laid out in a way where I thought, yeah, I feel like this is something which can really help me, because at the time I was, as I said, like I wasn't really getting far with my applications, so I felt like I sort of needed like an inspirational, like it's a new sort of bit of energy, I'd say.
A little push
Yeah,
from
exactly.
mentors.
Yeah, exactly.
So you were joining us almost like in your second year, where spring week recruiting had already kind of happened. Is that?
Yeah, it was sort of towards the back end of those spring week recruiting
Yeah.
Timelines. Yeah.
So tell me
So
about like when you joined us, like what was your impression? Like what did you think was going to happen, and then what
yeah,
happened?
I think the one big thing I wanted was like, first it was on my CV to get like just polished up.
Mm.
And I knew like you guys had, I didn't know how many people, that was what really like shocked me was how many people you guys had, like just who were waiting on that Slack chat just to be like, oh, like I can help you out. And the answer, sort of the replies to any questions are very, 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 very quick. That was something that shocked me, was like how many people you had who were like really quite committed to what they do. That was definitely something don't think I even knew would be happening even during you guys interviewing me for that.
We
So that
should
was
make
something.
that more clear. We should make it more clear. We have people like on call.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I just think it was like
yeah.
I don't know how many of you are, but like if
There's a
you've got
lot of us. There's 70 head
yeah,
mentors now, so it's a lot of us on there.
yeah, but if you have a question or anything, it's getting answered like almost instantly. That's
Yeah.
what was stood out for me, because a lot of the times, like in my mind, it probably would have been like 20-minute, 30-minute response. But yeah, no, that was super good. And just like, yeah, like all the steps you have, it's like you cover everything which comes in an application, from A to Z, like your CV to start with, like all those assessments online, and obviously the interview as
Did you
well.
do the AI review on your resume? Did you
Yeah,
improve it from like a 50
yeah,
to a?
it was below 50 and it was like a 96 or something like that. I can't quite remember, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's super, like you also feel so much more confident about your application as well. Because before I would be handing in my CV, not
Yeah.
knowing it's the format was completely wrong. It was some
Yeah.
sort of, I looked online and it was like a CV template they gave me, which is just not the right one for finance. And then
I'm
immediately given the template.
I'm curious at Trinity. No, it's a good school. I'm curious, did they not have like, because I know it's not like a super target school, right? But there's some finance in Dublin,
There
right?
is, I think it's very, very good, especially in Dublin. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people recruiting in Dublin and even London as well. But
Yeah.
I do think that they do have a student managed fund, and it is good. But I
And I
don't
saw
think,
you join that, which is looks good on the
yeah,
CV, right? Yeah.
yeah. But it's not like super well advertised, and I don't know how much help there is in terms of applications. A lot of it is like it's not formal, if you know what I mean. It's sort of, you'd go to a friend and they might have something about, like it is good, like people do help, but it's not necessarily like
Yeah,
structured
it's not
advice.
as structured. Yeah, and that's so like when you were coming through with us, you're doing the CV review, you're improving that. Tell me a little bit about your path. Like, so did you launch the networking with us? Like, take it seriously and start getting on calls using any of the
Yeah,
software, or did you more kind of, because I know you ended up getting an internship. You want to tell people like kind of the result right
yeah,
now is it's you took a really nice coming in from a non-target as late as you did.
yeah.
The results you're having right now kind of keeps the door open for IB, and I think it's a great outcome to start, and I think you're going to keep getting better outcomes after this. But go ahead and you can share the result.
I think at the beginning. So could you repeat the first part of the question?
Just share exactly like what you can share what the result is of working with us, but then more importantly, where like on the networking side, did you leverage a
Yeah.
lot of the tools and stuff like that we provide?
Yeah, like definitely at the beginning, I was super like nervous, I'd say, to network. Like I just feel like I'm wasting everyone's time, and it's not like they don't want to hear from me. But I suppose you sort of, it gave me sort of like you say that everyone has to do it. The people in those positions did it as well, so that sort of makes you feel a bit more confident about doing it. And
Mhm.
sort of, yeah, I spoke to a few people for KPMG. Again, like I spoke to a couple of people there, and I feel like that they definitely like mentioned like looking out for my application and stuff like that. And even just hearing that, it makes you feel again confident that people are like not giving you special treatment, but maybe.
You're getting to the assessment center more frequently, right?
Exactly, yeah.
I hear a lot of people in Europe. There's some people who push back. Hey, the UK, it's different. Hey, in Europe, it's different. Yes, it's more structured. Yes, they'll force you to go through the hierarchy and do the numerical reasoning tests more often in the US, where you can really go through the side door. But I always say, if you know somebody in that final round, that assessment center that you've already networked with, do you think your odds of them ranking you higher is better? Of course.
Even if it's a subconscious thing, I think.
Yes. And your confidence in getting, you're actually the value of the networking isn't just on giving you an advantage and getting more first rounds. It's actually developing your own skill set of speaking about yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
And learning about the firm. So yeah, tell me a little bit about, like, did you do a lot of that networking? Was it like 10 calls, 20 calls? What would you say?
Per week, I'd probably be doing about maybe 4 calls a week.
Yeah.
That was probably at the busiest stage. Over the summer, I wasn't really doing as much.
Yeah. Where did you land?
Well, I've got KPMG this summer.
And in what group?
It's deal advisory.
Yeah. So that's great. So you're going to be getting valuation work and modeling work and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And deal experience, which is key.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And then, tell me a little bit about, like, just takeaways looking back on, like, your path so far. And obviously the story is still being written, and we can maybe do a little check-in post grad, see where you end up. But I'd love for you to just, like, look back, and any advice you'd have for, like, first year uni students or even second years, kind of in similar shoes.
Yeah. I definitely think it's something I would recommend, just because, especially if you're in that position when you joined university and you don't really have any idea. You know what you want to do, but you don't have any idea of how to sort of attack a job application. I think Wall Street, you guys were, like, unbelievable in terms of sort of, like, everything was clearly, like, set out, CV, interview process, like how to ace the assessments and all that. And straight away, the advice that you guys gave, I felt, like, more confident in my application. I felt like immediately I was getting past that sort of first round of screening where the CV was good enough. Obviously, you still got to build your confidence on an interview call. But again, like, after, like, 2 or 3 of them, you sort of feel so much more like you're, like, making progress. And that was the big thing for me. It was like I was a bit afraid, like, I would join up and then I wouldn't, like, necessarily see results, but they almost came, like, instantaneously. Like, I joined maybe at halfway through the spring week applications, and the second half of my applications were, like, way better than the ones I submitted in the first half, and I saw a lot of progress there. So definitely something, if you're sure you want to go into this sort of arena of finance, and I think it's just something which is super valuable and something that will really help your application. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you sharing those words. I think your story is still being written, so I'm excited to see where you end up. And keep using us, and we'll see you in the Slack, and appreciate it.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Patrick.